So quick revision, and we are mo better. Say from the side, you'll see you can't even see it now. It's tucked up nice and neat, and I won't have to worry about it bashing into stuff because it's all up in the chassis now. So that's pretty good. I'll probably lift just a tad higher as I put a hanger on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some kind of hanger, I think maybe back here off this guy, and I'm going to kind of pull it that direction, and then I am probably going to put one right here on this guy, and I'm going to pull it that direction. So what that should do, hopefully, is keep this whole thing kind of suspended and keep it from jostling all around. See, it wants to move a bit. I can't see if you can. The auto stabilization's kicking on the camera and stabilizing it. So. but yeah, this guy, you can see it wobbles all over the place. And it, as you go up, of course, it's like a pendulum. So there's less as you go up. But in the back, there's a tremendous amount of shake with the thing, just basically like what I said, because of the weight and the angles, etc. So anyway, we'll hang that up there, and I think that'll be the last step, and then it'll just be pull it all down and start welding away on all the seams with my fancy MIG welder. Make some beautiful MIG welds. So we got our mount in over there. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of in a V, going one way, and then this one back here is kind of the same, and it did a quite good job of eliminating our movement. There's a little knot right here where it's just hitting the corner of this guy, and I'm gonna alleviate that with a BFH, which will take care of that knock, and then I'll be able to jiggle without touching anything, which is what you kind of want, because you don't want to go down the road going tonk 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 the whole way. But that's did a really good job of limiting the motion on that guy. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. We'll pull it all down. I'll get you a shot of it all on the ground before I start welding away, and then we'll get it back on there. Here is the exhaust parts all laid out, so you can see them. You see there's basically it comes down this little pipe right here, splits to this piece that goes straight back and out, and this one here that has a resonator and a muffler, and then over the axle and out the back of the car. So that'll give you kind of a view of what we're dealing with. Ideally, you try to use kind of as few joints as you can. What I tend to find out is a lot of times the legs that are on the bends, the mandrel bends, are usually kind of enough to finish the project. So, I mean, you obviously don't want to weld like 3 pieces of straight pipe together and have like, massive, string of little short pipes welded together to make one long pipe. But generally, you'll find that, that like this is a bend, there was a length on it. This was a little straight pipe that I had. Another bend that's a full length bend. This is a little bend right there. So I mean, all these are bends. There's not just like you'll see like a length of straight pipe. Like this is some straight pipe. I was able to get rid of some aluminized pipe that I had laying around for shit, man, maybe a decade. So that stuff does last. I mean, it still looks as good as the day they sent it to me. It's just I fucking hate welding aluminized anything. But whatever, it's a chance to get rid of it. I made this mostly with janky shit that I had just laying around for years. So it didn't really cost me much of anything. One thing I did do that I kind of had my head up my ass, and I wish I didn't do, is I just tack welded these couple of these V-bands on. There's one on the initial pipe and then one on the initial bend right there. And I really wish I would have taken the time once I got those, where I wanted them to just run it with the 309 on the TIG machine to make it nice, because I really don't like MIG welding V-bands on I tend to think that it just puts a little bit too much heat in them, and the chance of them warping. So I'll bring these huge length of pipe into the shop, or maybe I'll just break it at this weld right here. Maybe I'll mark it and break it, because I can do that one on the table no problem, but this one's a little more of a pain in the ass. So I'll probably just cut off the resonator, mark it where I need it back at, and take that little piece back there and weld that out. And then we'll get the old Miller-Matic out and just start running little stringers around this guy to get it all welded up, and the exhaust system will be finished. That'll be one less thing. So I'll throw this all in the time lapse, me welding this out and on this bench, and you probably already saw that, and I'm probably speaking over it right now. But a few things I should point out, like my arm is killing me. It's been peppered with BBs and buckshot from the MIG gun, and also it's probably be sunburnt tomorrow because MIG seems to throw out a whole lot more light than the TIG does, so it's gonna hurt. And you probably saw me, like, some joints went real quick, real easy, and some joints you saw me kind of struggle with a little bit. And a lot of that had to do with, one was there was a learning curve, you know, trying to get the machine set up to where it liked to be at for this kind of thing. And the other part of that was, once I got it kind of dialed in, then it was just, you know, fighting gaps. You know, the ones that went real quick and were easy was the ones that had like zero gap, and the ones where I kind of struggled and had to pulse the machine a little bit to get it to work. You know, that's a telltale sign that you got gaps in between your metal, and it's hard to weld. You know, you can't weld air. You can only weld metal. You can't weld grease, can't weld paint, can't weld air. You have to weld metal, so it's best to take your time and get good fit up You know, you can try to get away with something, but it's usually with getting away with stuff punishes you. So what I'm gonna do now is kind of clean up my mess here. I got all this kind of stuff to clean up, and I'm gonna knock these little, when you MIG weld, it puts little metal BBs all over everything, and I'm gonna use my wire brush and kind of knock all those, just kind of like my bench to be nice and smooth. Bam. Bam. So that's the first coat of paint kind of on one side. I'll flip it over and get the spots that I missed. You know, a can of paint doesn't take you far these days. Well, I'll tell you, a can of paint don't last as long as it used to. But yeah, I mean, you know, it doesn't look too bad. The MIG welds are like, you know, look like turd, but that's what MIG welds look like. And I'm okay with that because of the time I saved, and I just enjoy doing it this way. I like, kind of like let, you know, other people know, you know, you can just swing by with what you got. You don't necessarily have to do all the fancy stuff, and it doesn't necessarily need to look good to be good or fun. So, you know, that old saying about perfection is the enemy of good. So we're going to let that, I'm going to go eat chicken wings because I'm starving, and we're going to let that dry and come back, flip it over, and hit the other side. We should be good. We are recording. So the exhaust is mounted underneath the car in its permanent position, and it doesn't hit anything, which is good. You can see this guy here, you know, coming curling over the drive shaft, this one dumping there. They're both running up to the front, winding in, and yeah, to the dump pipe. So, or down pipe, dump pipe, down pipe, whatever. So that is how the exhaust turned out. It's all nice and painted, and there's a couple spots up there, so I went and just touched it up. It got scratched a little bit putting it up there, but I think it turned out fairly nice. I'll go ahead and lower it down and give you a shot from the ground, but you can see the clearance is really nice from the front to the back. I'm not going to really have to worry about banging on anything. It's tall. We got lots of clearance. So here's on the ground. I'm not really sure what all you'll be able to see and not see under here, but I mean, you can see the wheels, and there's really nothing hanging down at all underneath the car, so that's a win. That's a win. And our tailpipe, I think it's tucked up there nicely. It's not too shouty, I think is a good term. I might cut that off at a little more of an angle so it's not quite pointing down quite so much. Maybe a little bit more to the back, but I don't know. It's probably going to be just fine. It's dark under here. It's dark under here. Okay. Thanks for dropping by and checking out the video on my old Phoenix project that's coming along. I have a couple updates to try to put together and get out to you guys, and it's about ready to be registered, and I got a magical new transmission on the way, so I'm super excited about that. Cameron, people might know him over at Sloppy Mechanics, Cameron Powers. They put a Turbo 400 reverse pattern, manual shift, valve body, and all that goodness, so I'm super excited about that, and be wrapping this project up soon. So thanks for dropping by, checking out the video. This is Mike Fab out.